Hey everybody, welcome back to Faraday Research. This is part two of a two-part series, and what I'm doing now in this configuration, I'm going to be charging up capacitors. So I got this small bank of capacitors set up with the light bulb as the load. So it's basically the same air core as before. Now I was trying to decide if I was going to actually use this transformer here that I created. Maybe I'll do that in another video because I'm still experimenting with it. But at least in the configuration I'm going to show you today, I can charge capacitors. Now, this is underpowered. Like I said, this Tesla coil I got to make a lot bigger. So I can create a way bigger field that's going to energize these windings that much more to create more of a push and get the amperage up so I can really charge some high powered capacitors. Now, I was charging this bank here tonight. It's charging it, but very slow. This is a 500 farad. I believe it's maximum 16 volts at 500 farads. So it's a pretty big bank. It's pretty heavy duty. It's not the best one in the market, but it's the ones you can get on Amazon. They're cheap. But for what I'm doing, yeah, it does the job. But yeah, these you can buy on Amazon for like 60 bucks. They're not the real good ones like the Maxwell's at any means. So, but for just testing and stuff like that, it's good enough. So I'm going to turn it on here, and you can see I'm going to charge the capacitors. I'm going to have the light on, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut it off, and then you're going to see and prove to you how much power. Like right now, it's dead. It's not lit up, so there's no power in it. I'm going to show you how fast I can charge them up to a point where I can shut it off, and this light will probably stay lit for the next 5 minutes. So I'm going to turn it on here. Now, when I did the initial test on this one, it's showing me I'm about 280%. See, now it's charging the capacitors, and eventually that light's going to come on. There we go. See how it's coming on? So that means these capacitors are charging up. See how fast that took? Not, mind you, these are like 25 to 50 volts each. I just made an array of capacitors in series, and see how it blinked? That means it topped up right to the top of the capacitance, and then boom, it releases the power, and that's why you get the big flash. See? So anyways, if I create, like right now, I could actually bring it down to about 6,300 volts at 0.34 amps, 340 milliamps, and I'm sustaining a charge in the capacitor bank with a small load. That's 4.5 watts. So even though it's 4.5 watts, these things are charging up and then discharging and giving the flash. So it's showing that I got current. There's current going in here. So that's a very good thing. So I think I just have to step it up on this coil, make it a lot bigger, and then add more capacitors to get that voltage really, really powerful. You can see the neon's lit up. It's blinking. It's doing, I would say, very close to it, like a 60 hertz signal. Very close. Now, I'm going to show you something. Now I'm going to shut it off. Watch. Okay, I'm shutting it off. It's discharged, and look. It's still lit up. And it'll probably stay lit for probably the next 5 minutes. Because this will have 4.5 watts, and it's holding, it's discharging at a pretty slow rate, which is kind of cool. So, the system is off. Here, I'll even shut it off. Oh. It takes a second for this thing to power down. There, it's completely off. Look, the lights are still lit. There's absolutely no power going in this system. So everything that I charged with this is now charged at capacitor bank. So it does work. So you don't need an iron core like this. This is for, if you're running an inverter and stuff like that. But I'm still experimenting with it. Who knows, I might find out some new secrets about this. But it's pretty heavy duty. It's quite heavy. It's about 5 pounds. So I got 50 wires on the primary and the secondary 100. And I'm using 22 gauge wire. I might even have to go down to a smaller gauge wire, maybe 26 gauge for the secondary, and leave the 22 gauge for the primary. So yeah, it's kind of a work in progress, but I have made some pretty big progress on the system. So I'm starting to understand what's going on here. And look, still lit up. We're 5 minutes in the video already, and she's still lit up. And look, it's off. It's completely off. I have no power supply going on. So I did give this thing a lot of juice. And I'll turn it back on here. So I could probably let it run for another 5 minutes if I wanted to, but I'm having fun playing with this, so. See, you'll see the light going brighter and brighter. I could crank it up if I want. I'll put it like 7,000. Sounds good, right? See how it discharged? Topped out and discharged and sent a huge surge into the light. So that means I'm getting current. It's showing I'm getting current. I'm able to store the power in capacitors, light up a small load. So it's a matter of what you're doing, what you need. Do you need DC power or you need AC power? So you can go so many different directions with this. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and at least I can use it in practical sense. Now motors are kind of funny because they draw a lot of amperage or a lot of voltage or whatever. So you got to have enough backup. Say like in a capacitor, when I was charging this up, this thing was just flying, like to the point where I thought I was going to jump off the table. So, but running it under a load with the motor, it had trouble because it's going back to the coil. Yeah, I think the coil's just way too small for what I need. It's got to be a lot bigger. I got to create a way bigger field, more powerful field. And then I should be able to, some of the tests I was doing when I was charging up these super caps, it was showing I had a half an amp of power going into it. But it didn't look like it was really doing so much, but because, this 500 farad. So if you know anything about capacitors, they demand a lot of amperage to charge a capacitor. Now they can also discharge a lot of capacitance as well, high amperage. Like you can make this into a welder if you had it fully charged up 500 farad, you can make it into a welder. That's how much active power that you have stored in those capacitors. So yeah, charging capacitor is one thing. I think if I hook this up actually to a battery with a charge controller, I probably have a pretty good success. I would probably charge your regular lead acid battery quite well. I guess I'll have to experiment with that down the road. So, but for now, I'm learning this tech here, and I seem to be making some headway here. And I got it hooked up to the full wave bridge rectifier. This one, I believe, can handle 40 amps. This one's pretty beefy. So I'm not too worried about blowing the crap out of it. And yeah, so this is it. This is what I've been doing all weekend. Check out Bernie's podcast. I did all my demonstrations there in that show we did on Saturday night, last night. Yeah, check it out. Subscribe to Bernie's channel, and if you haven't subscribed to mine, bottom right hand corner is the icon. And don't forget to, I got my Patreon in the description, and now I also got my Bitcoin wallet. So if you want to donate through my Bitcoin, that would definitely help out. So yeah, so I'll be working on some new stuff coming up week, and we'll see everybody soon. Take care for now.